All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I know I said that the last video about Dragon Age the Veilguard was going to be the last one, but really didn't think we were going to get a response from Corin Bush, to be honest with you. I thought that this was going to kind of ride the wave and he was going to go silent and never mention it again. Well, basically, we did get a response, ironically. We got a response from Corin Bush over on Blue Sky, and we have a screenshot to showcase the response. It's like two or three in that whole thread over there. But there is a response finally from the director, and I find it so ironic, the response, because it definitely kind of ties together with the rumor about the Edmonton studio closing down after this person decided to leave as well. Now, if you guys remember, Smash JT and Grums collaborated on this leak and this information and were the first ones to discover the information and then spread it out for everybody to talk about online so that Jeff Grubb can go steal that information and pretend as he was the one that actually leaked it. But ultimately, Corin Bush left BioWare, obviously, and people were talking about it because it's huge, right? This is the director that ruined Dragon Age for everybody. This is the person who was taking the fall. At least that's how it seemed anyway. But then the other side of the rumor was that BioWare of Edmonton was going to close down as well, and this is trying to be quelled by people like Jeff Grubb and also, ironically, by Corin Bush. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says over on Blue Sky, Corin Bush, well, I suppose you've heard. Yes, I've made the decision to leave BioWare. I want to encourage everyone not to read too much into this. This was my decision so I could continue making the kind of RPGs that you know, and we, I guess, whatever, enjoy. Thank you for the outpouring of love and support. You mean the world to me. Now, I just want to unpack this really quick before we go into his other responses. So, really fast. The fact that he says, I want to encourage everyone not to read too much into this, that has to be a direct correlation to the rest of the rumor that was leaked with his firing, because I really do believe that he was fired, or at least he was fired in the same sense that Alyssa Mercante was fired. If you guys remember, Alyssa Mercante tried to lie to people over on her ex and say that she left Kotaku willingly. She left of her own accord, and then after she started to sue Smash JT, we realized that that was not true. What ended up actually happening was that Kotaku forced her out of the company. They essentially paid her out of the contract and said, you gotta go because you are too problematic. I would guarantee you the same thing happened here. And again, I have no proof of that. It's all just my opinion, but ultimately that's what I can see happening here. And that's what all the signs are showing me, because nobody like this would just leave the company just because. They've been with the company forever. You really think this person wanted to leave the company they've been with for over 15 years? You really think that's going to happen? If somebody stays with a company for 15 years, chances are they're not going to leave very easily. They're not going to leave of their own accord. Something is going to happen that's going to make them want to leave if they're not retiring, right? So I really do genuinely believe that this person was forced out of BioWare. And then it also says, this was my decision so that I can continue making the kind of RPGs that you and we enjoy. Now, there's a lot into this sentence, and I know that people are going to be like, oh, come on, don't read too much into it. No, I am, because you guys got to look. It says, this was my decision so I can continue making the kind of RPGs that you and we enjoy. Why wouldn't you be able to do that at BioWare? BioWare is a studio that literally works on RPGs. Why would you not be able to do that unless one or two things is happening? Number one, the RPGs that are being made will no longer push ideology that this person is trying to push in their video games, which is why he's saying the kind of RPGs that we enjoy, right? You, we, I guess trans people, whatever. That's got to be one of the options. Or number two, the studio that he worked for is closing down. Thus, he would not be able to make the woke RPGs that they were making, right? Because they wouldn't be able to, since everybody else would be moving over to Mass Effect, or if the studio closes down, clearly they're getting rid of most of the people. So one of those two has to be true. And then, of course, he lies about getting outpouring of support and everything. So now let's get into this part. Corin Bush says, thank you for entrusting me with our dear Dragon Age. Yeah, I mean, that was clearly a great idea. It was an honor to be a steward for the franchise and to play a part in ensuring its continuance. Oh, my God. Oh my God, bro. To play a part in ensuring its continuance, you gotta be trolling, right? You have to be trolling. There's no way, because you know that Dragon Age is not continuing. You know that Dragon Age is dead. All you got to do is just look at the numbers and realize that this game is dead. Okay, it's absolutely dead. It was a massive failure. And even when you look at the overly, these analytics are way over. They always are. The game is probably somewhere within the first two, which is anywhere from 300,000 to 750,000 sales. Okay, they haven't till this day. They have not announced 1 million sales. They have not announced it. It's all been rumored and everything like that on the back screen, but they have not announced 1 million sales. Every other developer, every other studio, once they pass 1 million sales, they are announcing it immediately for a good PR. This company did not do that, okay? So I do not believe, after the massive amount of refunds that were issued, that they have passed 1 million sales. And most of the numbers agree with me as well. So this person saying, I'm glad to have taken part in ensuring it's continuous, that's an insult. That's a very clear insult, because you guaranteed that the game would be dead. You guaranteed that, and you know that. And then he says, biggest of shout outs to the wonderful, whoever this is, Epler, without whom I don't know if I would have had the fortitude. So I guess he's thanking someone on the team who he probably blew. Who knows? Then he says, so extremely excited to see what BioWare does with Mass Effect, and trust that I'll be rooting for them the whole time. Yeah, I'm sure you will, and I'm sure you're going to be totally a player. Yeah, 100%. Honestly, guys, listen, there's not much here to really dissect outside of the first paragraph, because for me, the first paragraph is the most important part. I don't understand how staying with BioWare would have stopped this person from supposedly making the kind of RPGs that they wanted to make, unless one or two things, like I said earlier, happens, which is the studio closed down, or they're not going to be making the woke ass fucking RPG that was Dragon Age the Veilguard on Mass Effect. One of those two has to be true, right? And I would guarantee you the wokeness is probably going to stick around, right? I would guarantee you that Mass Effect is going to be compromised just based off what we've seen the studio do. So I'm more likely to believe that the studio is closing down that was in charge of Dragon Age the Veilguard, considering the massive failure. Again, we went over the numbers. This game did not make its money back, nowhere near. It was insane, a massive level of failure that we haven't seen for a franchise that has been known and loved for this long. We haven't seen this in a while. This game absolutely screwed this studio, and I would promise you that they are going to receive the fallout from it. So we're going to find out what happens, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks as the official, whether or not it's true or not that the studio's closing down. We're going to find out in February, I'm sure. But until then, we're just going to have to say, adios to Corin Bush officially, now that he confirmed it, even though we already knew it was true. Adios to Corin Bush, and I really pray and hope that you do not get involved with another studio that we love. But unfortunately, considering they have experience in AAA, chances are that's going to be the case. So we got to find out where they're going to work, and we're going to keep an eye on it. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.